Greetings, my fellow eagles and the entire world. This is Eagle Emmanuel Benson with inspirations and guidance from Eagle Hallet Benson in the unseen world, coming into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment. Today is the 6th of September in the year 2024, and the Bible says this is the day the Lord has made. And for that matter, we should rejoice and be glad in it. And so I take this opportunity to invite the whole world to join me to give thanks to God for the day that He has granted unto us. And life in general, life is beautiful, life is wonderful, life is glorious. Life is God Himself, flowing through all things, including mankind. Today, I'm going to speak to you on the topic, there is a value in your errors or mistakes. I repeat, there is economic value in your errors or mistakes. One of the greatest things that men and women are afraid of is to make an error or to commit a mistake, to make a mistake. And therefore, if we look at our lives, the main thing that almost every human being is doing on this earth is to avoid making a mistake, to avoid mistakes or errors in whatever the person is doing. And so you will see that we are doing everything that we can, that we want to succeed, but we are not succeeding in all our attention, in all our efforts to prevent errors. We are not succeeding. But if you just cast your mind or your eyes a little bit wider into the world, you will realize that a few people who do not really care about these errors, and they have fallen or they have made some of the grievous and the painful mistakes and errors in the world, they are rather moving and progressing and dragging the world along. Whilst those who are every day taking every step to avoid their errors are crawling. Why is it so? Well, the human being is supposed to learn lessons. And it is through our lessons that we grow, that we become successful. But the fact is that without a mistake, you can never learn a lesson. Without an error committed and accepting the error to analyze it, you will never discover anything new. And so those that have made errors, mistakes, their friends, when it comes, they don't even worry about these errors coming into their lives. But what they preoccupy their self-with is analyzing each error, each mistake, and seeking understanding, wanting to know what the error or the mistake carries. And it is through this that they discover more things. They even come to the realization that what they were doing initially was even just a small fraction of what the error is exposing them to. And so, discovery, every discovery came out of errors. And if you go into the scientific world, then no one goes into the laboratory to analyze a solution that is already achieved. No, that is not the work of a laboratory. We take a problem into the laboratory, and then we analyze the problem, and then it's through the problem that we come up with solution. You see, and so that is life. All of us are in the laboratory, and we are supposed to pay attention to what comes into our life that we call errors. They are not anything to harm us, but they are part and parcel of our existence to move us forward. All that you need, all that a human being needs in times of what we call error or mistake is the right mental attitude, the right thinking, and embracing the situation, telling him or herself that there is something beautiful, there is an economic value in that error. And that is what he or she wants to discover. And whoever has this mental attitude always discover. You see. And so, if you look at the world we live in, there are only a few people who doesn't believe in the lack of opportunities. The majority who go about seeking opportunity doesn't get opportunity because opportunity doesn't exist in all the things that we call as opportunities. But opportunity exists in our errors, our problems, our mistakes. And when a mind that is determined analyze the situation, analyze the error, and lessons learned, then a person becomes a powerful person. He discovers new things, and that new thing becomes an opportunity. And so, if you go into the business world in particular, problem solving is what they talk about. Solution comes as the answer to a problem. So without a problem, the business would never exist. So the business in reality or in practical terms, all businesses exist on the existence of a problem. Every business organization is there to provide a solution to a problem. So when the problem is not there, the business is on the organization is no longer in existence because its existence is no more relevant. You see, and so that is how it is in our lives. But we are fighting against our own progress by taking on the mental attitude that we do not want to make mistakes. We are avoiding our errors. You see? And so that is where we are now. And this is the time that we have to open our mind. And that is why we are talking about the art of deliberate thinking. You are a human being that has been brought, or you are identifying yourself in this outer world. And you are here to create. And the beginning of your creation is the problem. And then when you analyze the problem, use your mind to analyze it and allow the solution to flow through you from God, from your higher self. Then you move forward. You bring something new. You bring something. So our errors, our mistakes are the precursors of what we are able to do or we can do in life. And if we pay proper attention to them, we will go forward. We will move mountains. We will develop our world, our societies, our communities into something beautiful. You see? And so today, my job is to remind you and to call you to call your attention to the fact that you are here to triumph. But for you to triumph, there must be a challenge that you must fight, you must overcome. And that challenge, some of them comes through your errors, your mistakes. The universe intentionally placed these obstacles in front of you. And the invitation is analyze it, seek it. As you keep on knocking, as you keep on seeking, you will find it, you will discover it. And so we are supposed to emancipate ourselves, our mind from the delusion and the false belief that we can only be successful only when we protect everything that we have so that we don't make mistakes. We only be successful only when we do the things that we know how to do and do them well, but we don't want to make errors. We don't want to make mistakes. Yes, it is good to do your work the way you want to do it efficiently, but if an error comes, do not worry and do not be afraid. Do not beat yourself down, but take the error as an opportunity for you to expand in your knowledge in that area. That is a fact. So why do we learn? We learn to gain lessons, and the errors that comes to teach us, for us to gain lessons. And if we are to look into the world, we will see this situation playing out in every community, every society. And today I'm going to look at it even from continents and races. I'm an African, so always I talk about Africans. And without any iota of doubt, without being disrespectful to the African people, a group of people which I am part of, I can confidently say that the main source of our lack of progress is the African's mindset of fighting against their problem, fighting against or doing everything to, prevent difficulties and challenges coming into their lives. You see, right, starting from our forefathers, they never practiced, they never analyzed things, they never used their minds. Whenever something comes, whenever a situation appears, they go to seek the solution from the gods. And whatever the fetish priest or whatever will say, that is what they will take. Problems solved to them. And therefore, we never moved ourselves forward. We are always preventing errors. We are always praying to gods and fetishes and whatever to prevent us from all kinds of calamities. And therefore, we stay where we are. We are not learning. We are not gaining any lesson. And so if you look through the life of every human being, particularly Africans and black people, all the things that we have gone through, we are still going through some of these things because we haven't learned the lessons that these challenges, the situation comes about. These are higher levels. And if you ask every African, the only thing that African is praying against is not to make error, not to fall into difficulty, not to do this and that. But he just wants a one straight life that always things are done the way they're supposed to be. And therefore, people with this mindset don't learn, they don't gain any lessons. And because they don't take lessons from their difficulties, they don't go forward. You see, there is economic value in every situation. However painful, however difficult we may look at it, there is economic situation in it. And if you look at it with the right mental attitude, and you look at it from the right perspective, you will gain out of it. That is a fact. And so when situation comes, when challenges comes, when someone makes an error, instead of packing ourselves in buildings and other things that we are, teaching ourselves and beating ourselves that we don't want such a thing to repeat, we should rather busy our minds analyzing the person's error. The person is a change or an agent of change. And therefore, he or she has to commit that error, has to make that mistake. And the only thing that is needed is the person and all other people around putting their minds down to analyze the error and see what this error or mistake comes with. And so, discovery is through by the analysis of our errors. New things are discovered through our errors. Improvement to products comes about through the errors that we discover from the products. And so if you take your life, you take our life, everything that we go through, error or mistakes are part and parcel of our lives. But the only thing that makes the error a beneficial or something that is painful is the mental attitude that the people in question holds. That is a fact. And therefore, we have to rise up in your personal life. Do not see anything that comes into your life as the work of a demon, as a work of anything. If you make a mistake, take responsibility and accountability. And then tell yourself, I am going to study this error and try to understand this problem. And I know by the time I will finish it, I will come out stronger. I will see something more beautiful, something that will come to improve my life. That is how we're supposed to live as human beings. But not when someone goes to work and he happens to make an error, he goes to church. In Africa, that's what we do. We go to church and then we pray that God should solve the problem. God should protect the person, such that the person will not be sacked, the person will not be will not do this and that. Even parents goes to church and make offering. They go to places to make prayers or whatever to the first priest, to pour libation, and to do this kind of sacrifices that their children, their people will be protected from falling into and making errors or making mistakes in their works. And so if you have this mental attitude, believe it or not, you are only going to be an ordinary person. That is a fact. You are not here to live a straight line life. And therefore, you are supposed to look at everything that comes into your mind, into your life with your mind and analyze it. It's an invitation from the universe for you to discover something new. And so we just have to sit down and ask ourselves, We have to sit down and ask ourselves, why do we lack progress in Africa? Why is it that there is no progress in Africa? And you will come back, if you do the proper analysis, you will come back to this very fact. Whatever thing that we are craving for from other people, whatever thing that we call developed things from other worlds, most of them came out as a result of people's errors, mistakes that people made. And some people took those mistakes, analyzed them, and got a solution to the error. And it became something beautiful, something wonderful that the world is enjoying. And so there must always be a pregnancy before a baby comes. There must always be the sowing and then the tendering and the nurturing and nursing of the crops before the harvest comes. And so it is. We must all be prepared to go through difficulties and challenges. But whilst we go through them, we don't moan. We don't beat about the bush. We don't condemn people. We don't attribute all these things to forces that don't exist except only in our minds. And then we use our mind to analyze our own challenges and difficulties. And we will move ourselves forward. Not only Africans, every human being, this is the truth. And that is what is being used by all people. Those in the scientific world know this. Those in the scientific world knows this. So when you take a problem to any scientific person, the person doesn't sit down and say, oh, what's for this problem? No. What they do is they go into the laboratory, analyze it, until they discover something, until they discover what they are looking for. So there is economic value. There is a very big value in your mistakes. Though we don't actually get up that we are going to make mistakes, but you are supposed to be yourself in doing whatever you are doing, in organizing your life. But if a mistake comes, do not see it as the way or attack from the devil, from or any other entity, but look at it as it's part of the process of you becoming. And therefore, you are ready to analyze the problem. You are ready to analyze the situation. And through that, you come up with a new thing. Then you give it to the world. That is how the world has moved or have moved from a lower level to where we are. And that is how we're going to move from this level to another level and another level and another level. And so, this is the time that we got to realize this truth. Particularly, my brothers and sisters in Africa. We are working against our own progress by our beliefs. I am not against prayers. I am not against any religious group. But the fact is that all these things have their places in life. But the key thing is, the bottom line is that the human being must use his or her mind to improve him or herself. And without difficulties, without errors, without mistakes, we cannot improve upon our lives. And so when something comes and you classify it as the act of the evil or the devil, the enemy, and therefore your only solution is to go to church, to gather yourself in temples or whatever, and pour libations and pray to God for God to solve the problem, then, as a matter of fact, you are killing your own progress. Then such people with that mental attitude are doomed. They will never see progress. And that is why Africa, there is nothing coming out in Africa. What is coming out in Africa that the world is craving for? Ask yourself. There is nothing that is coming out of Africa made with the mind of a human being that anyone in any part of the world is craving for. But we are craving for other people's things because the other people don't see their errors, mistakes, challenges, and difficulties as the work or the act of the enemy. But it is they see it as part and parcel of the creative process. There must always be the raw materials that you will convert into finished good. There must always be an error, a mistake, difficulty, or challenge that you must analyze. And when you analyze it, you come up with a solution. The solution becomes something that lifts you up. And that is why the world are ready to pay for and celebrate you for giving them such a beautiful thing. That is the truth. You would know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Whatever I have said, though I have referenced Africans, it is applicable to every human being. You are governed by laws. Your mind is the creative medium, and you have the power and ability to create and to do anything that you want to do. But you need to hold the right mental attitude, and you need to hold the right perspective of life. You need to hold the right perspective of life. The right perspective of life is that you are the creator of your own realities. And therefore, any situation that comes into your reality, you will take responsibility and accountability. Any error or mistake that you make, be it in your personal life, in your work, or in any level of society, you will take accountability and responsibility, and then busy your mind. Task yourself to analyze such situation, and through this analysis, you will discover what no man or woman has ever discovered, and that is how you become a well-known person. That is how you turn the attention of the world to yourself. So I will conclude by invoking once again the words of George Bernard Shaw. He said, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world, but the unreasonable man persistently tries to adapt the world to himself." And how to adapt the world to yourself, to ourselves, is to take responsibility and accountability of our errors, and then analyze them, seek solutions. And when we do that, we present it to the world. Then the world will turn around and say, "Hey, a new thing has come." Then you become a hero. You will know the truth. The truth shall set you free, said Jesus Christ. That is my message for you. Now may the overshadowing presence of God that keeps the stars in the open such that they do not fall on us, that keeps the planets in their orbits such that they do not clash with one another, but orbiting in a very precise and definite proximity to each other, lead and guide you. Open your mind such that you become awakened to your own powers. You begin to use your mind and you begin to embrace your errors, mistakes, and use your mind to analyze them. And you will discover something. And you will burst out into the open and shout, as Archimedes shouted, "Eureka, Eureka! You have found something new that the world has never seen, and you are giving it to the world." And that is how the world will celebrate you. Thank you. Now, may I take this opportunity to remind you, if you haven't done so, to click the subscribe button as you are concluding this video. Join us and join our community. Circulate the message, and let us bring the power, the message of empowerment, the message of enlightenment into our homes and communities. And together, we will bring heaven on earth here, that every man or woman will love to be part of the world that we enjoy. And that's why we say, yes, we came to this world, and we did not only come to pass through, but we've come to affect the world. We played our part. Thank you, and God bless you.